get it. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the SchuZ Show. Hope you guys are having a phenomenal night. Just gonna make sure we have the audio going on real quickly here. 1 second, everyone. We're good to go. All right, so with that being said, I hope you guys are having a phenomenal Wednesday. And if you guys are tuning in now on a Thursday, hopefully you guys are having a great Thursday as well. But with that being said, we got some stuff to get into on tonight's show. And not a lot. Very, very brief show. Obviously, the plan was to have Zaquan Moses on the show. Something happened there. I'm not sure what exactly went down. Hopefully, we can get that rescheduled for the future. Not 100% sure on that one, though. But hopefully, we can get it back on the show again in the future. But that interview is going to take place at another time. If it does, will not be on today's show. So, therefore, I've only got a couple topics I want to get into on tonight's show. But, as always, if there are any comments, questions, topics, or discussion points you guys want me to discuss on tonight's show, make sure to leave it in the chat, and I'll make sure to break it down and address those as we go through the show. So, the main thing I want to kick off today's show with is this. A proposition I have for you guys. Does Danny Garcia belong in the Hall of Fame? Now, I'm going to lay out the facts for you guys, and then I'm going to give you guys my take on this. For Danny Garcia, he is a two-weight world champion. He also held unified titles at the junior welterweight division, holding the WBC, WBA, and the Ring Magazine belts. Then he later went on to win the WBC welterweight championship. Then you look at signature wins. Amir Khan knockout in 2012. He then unified titles. He then beat guys like Zeb Judah, Lucas Matisse, Lamont Peterson, Paulie Malignaggi, Roberto Guerrero, many other guys as well in that group. 2 victories over Eric Morales as well. And then the biggest thing in my eyes is he also had great longevity. 18-year career to this point in time, a record of 38-4, 22 KOs. He ended obviously with a great KO just coming this past weekend. But on the downside for Danny Garcia, this is what we have to look at. He lost 2 of his last 3 fights, including a failed bid to become a 3-division champion against Erislandy Lara. Not a bad loss, but he still lost to Lara. He missed unification, lost key unification bouts against welterweights like Keith Thurman and Errol Spence Jr. Once again, none of those are bad losses. They're just some of the top guys in the world. Then you throw in the Sean Porter loss as well. Activity drop-off is another aspect. While he was having a very long career in his boxing ending, he only fought 6 fights since 2019. Long layoffs and fewer marquee wins in later years. That is a problem as well. Here's what I'm going to say, though. When I look at Danny Garcia, this is a case of a man who had a remarkable career. There is nothing to take away from Danny Garcia. This man did everything we could ask for boxing. He represented the sport at a very high level. He did great things for the sport at large. But let's be honest. The Boxing Hall of Fame is reserved, or at least should be reserved, for the best of the best fighters. Guys that accomplish things that very few others have ever been able to fathom. Guys that have had some of the biggest wins in boxing. Those are the guys that belong in the Hall of Fame. Not to take shots at guys that have made it, that don't have those accolades and or those resumes, but that's what Hall of Fame should be reserved for. My honest opinion is that it's too easy to make the Boxing Hall of Fame in today's era. And so when we look at a guy like Danny Garcia, according to my standards, I don't believe that Danny Garcia should be in the Hall of Fame. I believe that when we look at Danny Garcia's career, he had a remarkable run. He did great things for the sport of boxing. As true boxing fans, we will not forget what he did for the sport. His impact was massive, and he's going to continue to impact the sport of boxing. He gave us great moments, great memories, so on and so forth. But all that being said, when you look at guys that should make the Hall of Fame, it is the best. 4 losses, once again, not against anyone that's bad, but those are some of the 4 top fighters he fought in his career. He couldn't beat any of them. That's problematic when you look at a resume for the Hall of Fame. Hats off to him for going out there and taking those fights against Errol Spence, against Erislandy Lara, against guys along these lines that he's fought throughout his career. But when it comes down to it, to make the Hall of Fame, you have to have those big wins. That's just a fact. And when I look at Danny Garcia's career, he's lacking those monumental wins that say, you know what? You belong in the Hall of Fame. Now, on the flip side of that, as I said, the Hall of Fame in boxing has been made to a point where it's too easy to make. There are a lot of guys that are very controversially in the Hall of Fame. And guys that we continue to see get listed in the Hall of Fame that, let's be quite frankly honest, are quite debatable. And so when I look at that aspect, and I look at some of the names that are currently on the Hall of Fame, and I look at Danny Garcia's resume, they're quite identical. And because of that factor right there, there is a legitimate case for Danny Garcia to make the Hall of Fame according to today's boxing standards. Whether we like it or not, whether you think he belongs to the Hall of Fame or not, and I don't think he should be based upon my standards, when you look at who is in the Hall of Fame today, the standards that are currently in place to make the Hall of Fame, I do believe the door is open for Danny Garcia to make the Hall of Fame. But as I said, this is not to take shots at Danny Garcia. I respect this man a ton. He had a remarkable career, a remarkable run. But when I look at the facts, it's just hard for me to put two and two together and say, you know what? Danny Garcia, what he did for boxing, his accolades, and his resume all account to him making the Hall of Fame. It's hard for me to fathom that. John Boots Ennis wants to fight in the UK. John Boots Ennis told his promoter Eddie Hearn after his win over Usman Lima that he wants to fight in London in the near future. Brilliant. I've always been a big advocate for guys that want to go out there and fight in other countries. And quite frankly, I don't know why others won't do that. Now, for Americans, I get it. You have multiple big cities to fight in when you're talking about the United States of America. Have people travel, you get to stay home, similar time zones, and you have places like LA, you have Las Vegas, you have Dallas, you have Philly, you have New York, Brooklyn, so on and so forth. You have these big cities, so it makes sense for a lot of people to stay and fight in America. But if you are trying to build a big brand, I don't see any problem with Boots Ennis wanting to go out there and fight in London. London is one of the best boxing atmospheres you could possibly put together in all the sport right now. London, Mexico, and Japan. I should say UK as a whole, not just London. Those are the three meccas right now in terms of boxing and the atmospheres. All three are remarkable. And if you're John Boots Ennis, why not go head out to fight there in London? Why not go make your print out there? It makes perfect sense. Obviously, Eddie Hearn is debatably the best. In my opinion, he is the best promoter currently in the UK. Why not go have a big fight out there in the UK? Headline it. Obviously, there's a lot of guys you could go out there, but if John Boots Ennis is going to go out there and fight and Eddie Hearn's promoting you, those tickets would sell quite well, and it would be a great opportunity for him. So I'm all for that one. I actually love the idea of John Boots Ennis going out to the UK and fighting there. Now, do I think it's going to happen in the near future? Probably not, but I could see it happening within the next year to 18 months. And here's a fight I'll throw out to you guys. If Boots Ennis does in fact fight in the UK, the name I expect him to fight would be none other than Conor Benn. The reports have already come out that John Boots Ennis will likely be in the UK next month during the Eubank Benn rematch. You think there's a reason for that? I do. Not to fight Chris Eubank Jr., to fight Conor Benn. And can you imagine John Boots Ennis fighting Conor Benn in the UK? He would win that fight. I would not question that one bit whatsoever. But can you imagine the magnitude that that fight would do for John Boots Ennis' name? That's the type of fight right there that makes you a legitimate star in the sport of boxing. And I mean a global star, not just in Philadelphia, not just in America, but in all the world altogether. That would be a fight that I think would make perfect sense. And I think when you're talking about John Boots Ennis and he's targeting a UK fight, that's probably the one that's on his mind today. Last thing on today's show, sticking in the UK, Anthony Joshua's next fight could take place on an undercard in December, Eddie Hearn has revealed to the ring. AJ hasn't fought an undercard since the stoppage win against Kelvin Johnson over 10 years ago in 2015. When Eddie Hearn elaborated on this statement that he made it clear. This could be a situation where they don't announce that Anthony Joshua is fighting on this card until a couple weeks out. Obviously, Anthony Joshua will be well aware of that. He's been preparing for it, but they could just throw him on the undercard. And I'll be honest with you. I have two takes on this. The first aspect is this. If you are Anthony Joshua, I can understand him wanting to go out there and do this. He is still one of the biggest faces in all boxing, but if you just want to kind of put the pressure aside, go out there, make a fight happen, just get a quick knockout out of the way for yourself, it does make sense. I don't think Anthony Joshua is going to go out there and fight, a big name star person or whatever it might be, even a talented fighter at heavyweight in his return. It's going to be against somebody that's going to knock out within 3 or 4 rounds. And so if you are Anthony Joshua, just sliding yourself up into an undercard could make a lot of sense if you just want to get a fight underneath your belt. However, it's Anthony Joshua. When is the last time we've seen a man of that star power not be a main event, especially in a day and age where boxing is lacking star power all over the place? We're constantly searching for who's going to be the next star. We only have a handful of true stars in boxing today, Anthony Joshua being one of them. So him not being the main event would be a shocking revelation to see. But we'll see what happens. Eddie Hearn is rumoring that could be in store for us in the near future. As I said, though, today was going to be a very, very short show. Just wanted to hop on here, give you guys my takes on a couple of boxing news, and then I'll head off the show. And I'll be back live tomorrow. I've got a big guest, a special guest coming on the show tomorrow. You guys will not want to miss that interview. I will be announcing who it is tomorrow afternoon, so make sure to tune in for that one. You guys are not going to want to miss it. It should be at 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. So I'll see you guys back live tomorrow. May God bless you guys all. Have a blessed rest of you guys' day, and I'll see you guys back live tomorrow. God bless you guys all. And with that being said, SchuZ out. God bless y'all.